Objective. After listening to this lecture, you'll be able to identify components and types of stress. Most people don't realize that learning to manage stress is incredibly important to your health.
Introduction to stress. The famous cartoon cat Garfield says, in a perfect world, you'd love your job and it would love you back. You'd work 2 weeks and vacation 50. You'd always be first in line. Sleeping would be an Olympic event. TV would actually make you smart. Mornings would start later in the day. And the cartoon strip ends with, "This is not a perfect world. Quit dreaming and get back to work." We definitely don't live in a perfect world, and things don't always go the way we'd like them to. I certainly don't want to be pessimistic, but the fact of the matter is that literally every day from the day you were born until the day that you die, you'll most likely experience some form of stress to some extent. First, let's talk about what stress is. Stress involves, 1, a stressor or some sort of demand, pressure, negative situation or event. 2, our perception or our thoughts about that stressor. 3, an emotional reaction. 4, sometimes a behavioral reaction. And 5, a physiological reaction. So the term stress involves much more than simply a stressor and refers to a chain reaction involving multiple components affecting us physically, emotionally, and behaviorally. Types of stress. There are 2 general types of stress. Eustress, which is considered to be good or healthy stress. It's stress that motivates you or excites you. It's actually good to have some stress in your life. Distress is considered bad stress or unhealthy stress. You feel bad as a result of encountering a stressful situation, and you might even experience physical problems such as a stomach ache, headache, acne, hives, etc. as a result of the stressor. It's stress that wears you down and causes you to feel any of the negative stressful emotions, frustrated, anxious, angry, or overwhelmed. Examples of distressors are having to give a presentation when you absolutely hate speaking to a large group of people, losing a loved one, or being in an abusive relationship. It brings you out of emotional and physical homeostasis, but in a bad way. And there are 2 types of distress: chronic, or stressors you've been living with for a long time, and acute, or stressors that are more intense, but it doesn't last very long. Examples of acute distress would be the infamous lights of a police car flashing in your rearview mirror while you're driving, or giving a presentation to a large group of people, watching a scary movie, or hearing an unexpected loud noise outside your window in the middle of the night. Each of these situations produce relatively large increases in your heart rate, breathing, blood pressure, etc., but it doesn't last very long. You'll get the speeding ticket, and yes, you're bummed about it, but it's over pretty quickly. Chronic distress is not as intense, but it lingers for prolonged periods of time. An example of chronic distress would be having a heavy load in one quarter or semester while working full time, being in a bad relationship, living with chronic pain or illness, being in debt and not knowing how you're going to pay your rent next month. It's stress that doesn't go away very quickly like acute stress. It lasts for days, weeks, months, and sometimes years. Unfortunately, the most common type of stress is also the most detrimental to our health, and that is chronic stress. Key points. Stress consists of the following components: a stressor, our perception, an emotional reaction, oftentimes a behavioral reaction, and a physiological reaction. There are 2 types of stress: eustress or good stress, and distress or bad stress. And there are 2 types of distress: chronic, not as intense but lingers for prolonged periods of time, and acute, more intense but doesn't last very long. And that's it.